Good morning once again and welcome to Core Digest. I'm Oyinpriye Krumale, and of course I have in the studio with me a wonderful guest. His name is Fred Nzeakor. Fred Nzeakor is a legal practitioner. Good morning, sir, and you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brother.
How was your weekend?
Very good, we thank God. I hope yours was good.
It was fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yes. Farmers' herders crisis has been one of the protracted crises in Nigeria, and there have been claims of loss of lives and destruction of properties worth tens of billions of naira. There have been claims of farmers being killed on their farmlands and counterclaims of reprisal attacks by farmers on herders as well. And in order to end this menace after a spree of killing in January 2018, the government came up with a plan called cattle colonies. Well, a lot of persons in the country rejected that cattle colony policy being driven by the federal government, which was actually announced by the then Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development in person of Chief Audu Ogbe. And today we have Ruga settlement staring us in the face, and of course a lot of other persons have come out to reject it and to resist it as well. However, we're told that about 12 states governors have willingly accepted it, and it is not going to be imposed on Nigerians or any government or any state governor, but that is going to be based on voluntary acceptance. Mr. Fred Nzeakor, I hope you are familiar with what's happening. What's your take on the Ruga settlement?
It is not a hidden fact that Nigerians are very suspicious of the inner motives of Mr. President. Mr. President may mean well, but the language of communication leaves a lot of suspicion. The language of communication, the act of and the actions of Mr. President and his government leaves a lot of suspicion in the hearts and minds of other nationalities that make up the country called Nigeria. And that was why President Obasanjo shouted that there is an agenda, a hidden agenda, to Fulanize and Islamize Nigeria. How, in the face of such accusation, you now want to use a Fulani word not known to most people outside the Fulani language, that means it's a Fulfulde word, for a national program, and you expect people not to raise their antenna of suspicion? Psychology of communication has been neglected. The psychology of leadership and followership relationship has been neglected. Good. Ruga is set hot. If Ruga means hot, that means those who are saying that it represents settlement are right. If it is hot, a certain number of people, in that case, there will be so many Rugas in a particular environment, which is now a settlement. Translate it to English language, that is our official language of communication across board in Nigeria. It means Fulani settlement. So, how do you expect others to cooperate with that policy? Okay. So, no matter how well intentioned the policy is, the act of its packaging, the act of it has been embellished with a lot of semantics that will leave so much room for suspicion, and that is why so many people are rejecting it. And meanwhile, government has not brought out the very template that will how will it in the end solve the farmer herder clash?
Okay,
These are the questions.
Yes.